Hi guys, how are you? I hope you're all doing well. This is Somashekar Kalepalli. Welcome to Thermal Wing YouTube channel. In this class, I will explain about infrared radiation and its applications, mainly thermal imaging.
Some objects are so hot they also emit visible light, such as a fire. Other objects, such as humans, are not as hot and only emit infrared waves. We cannot see these infrared waves with our eyes alone. However, instruments that can sense infrared energy, such as night vision goggles or infrared cameras, allow us to see these infrared waves from warm objects like humans and animals.
Observe this video clip. Persons walking in airport. Person's body temperature is sensed by thermal cameras. A woman is visualized in red color, which represents her body emit more heat than naturally emitted by other persons. This represents she suffers with sick, that is fever. This technology was more helpful in during corona pandemic to identify favored persons in airport. Infrared radiation is a one type of electromagnetic radiation. This infrared radiation is also known as heat radiation. The wavelength of infrared radiation range from 0.76 micrometer to 100 micrometer region of the electromagnetic spectrum. Infrared radiation was discovered by the British astronomer Sir William Herschel in 1800. Common sources of infrared radiation is to sun, fire, warm objects, including living beings, that is, human beings, and also warm-blooded animals, etc. Our human body is also continuously emits body heat into thermal radiation, that is nothing but infrared radiation. Infrared radiation example, sun. This is the sun, earth surface. Energy from the sun reaches on the earth surface. This solar energy consists of three components. That is, one is infrared radiation, second one ultraviolet radiation, and visible radiation. The energy reaches on the earth surface from the sun. Half of the radiation is infrared radiation. Half of the radiation is infrared radiation. The sun emits infrared radiation because of the heat heat of the sun, but this infrared radiation is invisible to human eye. Invisible. We can able to see only the visible light. UV also invisible. This is the very important point regarding infrared radiation is to infrared radiation is invisible to human eye. It can be seen only with the help of infrared thermal imaging cameras. Applications of infrared radiation, that is thermal imaging. Thermal imaging is an awesome technology. Human beings and other warm-blooded animals are viewed in night vision with the help of infrared thermal imaging camera. How it is possible? Whose body temperature is above 0 Kelvin or minus 273 degrees Celsius emit heat radiation. The radiation emitted by bodies at room temperature falls into infrared region of the electromagnetic spectrum. Example, human body and other warm-blooded animals. Thermal imaging is the process of converting infrared radiation into visible images. How it is possible? Infrared thermal imaging camera sends the infrared radiation emitted by bodies, that is animals and other warm-blooded living beings and humans, and converts it into visible images known as IR thermography. Infrared thermography used in surveillance and security applications, mainly Some of the examples: military, forest, heat loss from buildings, identifying variation of temperature on the earth surface. Thermal imaging is an awesome technology. These are the key points regarding thermal imaging. Thermal imaging is the process of converting infrared radiation into visible images. Observe the sketch. Thermal camera, it can detect the infrared radiation emitted by bodies in its view. This captured infrared radiation is converted into visible images. The amount of infrared radiation correlates with the object's temperature. By measuring this infrared radiation, thermal cameras create images representing temperature distribution. These visible images are known as thermogram. This thermogram represents thermal image or infrared image is a visual representation of the temperature distribution across the surface of the object. Observe the sketch is the human body emitted infrared radiation at room temperature, and this different color codes represents the temperature distribution on the surface of the object. Thermal imaging color codes. Thermal imaging color codes typically represents temperature variations using a gradient of colors. The common color codes are: observe the sketch, it consists of blue, green, yellow, red, and white. The blue-green colors represents the coldest and mid-range temperatures. Yellow represents temperature warmer than mid-range but not hot. And red color and white color represents the hottest temperature. These colors can vary depending on the specific thermal imaging software or application. Thermal imaging applications. Thermal imaging having different applications here representing surveillance and security applications. It is used in security and survey applications in military, security and surveillance around the building, security and surveillance in forest, and also identifying heat loss from the buildings. Next, identifying temperature on the surface of the earth for forecast the climate changes. Thermal imaging helpful in building inspections like identifying where heat loss from the building that is escaping conditional air. Observe the sketch. Building thermogram. Here blue color and green color represents the coldest temperature and yellow represents the mid-range temperature. But observe this red color at the doors and windows represents the hottest temperature. Reason is to conditional air is escaping from the windows and buildings. So this thermal imaging is helpful in identifying heat loss from the building that is escaping conditional air. Imaging application in security and surveillance around the building. Thermal imaging can be used for security surveillance by detecting unauthorized access or movements within and around the building, especially in low light conditions or night time. It will help in identifying thieves around the building and preventing in helpful thefting. Thermal imaging application in security and surveillance in forest. First one, wildfire detection. Thermal cameras can detect heat signatures from wildfires early, even though smoke for quicker response and containment. Next, wildlife monitoring. Thermal imaging can track animal movements and behavior, especially at night or in dense foliage where visibility is limited. Next, poaching prevention. Thermal imaging can identify human presence in restricted areas, even in dense foliage, to prevent illegal hunting of animals in the forest. Surveillance of Earth surface temperature using satellite-based thermal imaging. It involves capturing infrared radiation emitted by the surface. This technique is valuable for various applications including environmental monitoring, climate change studies, disaster management. Environmental monitoring. Observe this animated image of thermal imaging. It represents the temperature distribution on the surface of the earth. It will be helpful in observing changes in ecosystems such as deforestation, urban heat islands, and glacier melting. Next, climate change studies. This satellite-based thermal image helpful in tracking temperature variations over time to study global warming and its effects. Next, disaster management. This satellite-based thermal imaging helpful in assessing the impact of natural disasters like volcanic eruptions and tracking cyclone movement. If this video is worthy for you, click like button, subscribe to this channel for more interesting thermal concepts. Thank you.